We are the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening, we discuss the queer headlines. Tomorrow night, the Master Chorale of South Florida kicks off Pride Month with considerate Matthew Shepard.
This year's Wilton Manor Stonewall Pride will go beyond just the parade and celebrate a weekend of women.
The National Park Service has reversed the ban on uniformed employees participating in Pride, as previously reported on Queer News Tonight.
The Vatican has issued a statement apologizing for the Pope's reported use of a gay slur.
The best of LGBTQ plus gaming characters and studios will be celebrating as the Gayming Awards 2024 are presented on June 25th.
Good evening. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening television news show, broadcasting live available on demand, available on smart television, including Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon TV, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. It's time to queer up the news for Thursday, May 30th, 2024. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens, unique in LGBTQ plus news, you will see it and hear it.
Hotspots Magazine Happening Out Television Network is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ plus community. Our mission is to support the 11 pillars of our LGBTQ plus community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of our queer culture, the Black community, Latino, lesbians, and queer women, trans, student youth, seniors, HIV/AIDS, healthcare, business, social justice, and faith. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ plus nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network. In 2024, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ plus experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ plus and broader community.
Let's meet tonight's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome Edward Otto Zielke. From a successful career in financial marketing to his current role as the Director of Marketing and Sponsorship for the Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida, Edward's journey is marked by accolades and achievements. The Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida is one of the world's largest and most important LGBTQ cultural organizations, arts organizations. Welcome, Edward.
Thank you so much for having me. We're so excited that we've got so many great events coming up. Tomorrow we're going to be performing at the Miami Marlins game. It's for the Pride at the Park. We're singing the national anthem there, so that's definitely, if you're down in that area, come down and see us. On June 12th, we're going to be performing with Pride Fantasia, a celebration of the arts with Matthew Darren over at the Manor. And we're also going to be obviously in the Stonewall Pride Parade and festival activities. But our concert, our main June Pride concert is June 29th. It's called Pride Then, Now, and Forever. It's a multi-generational concert celebration, celebrating all the generations of LGBTQ+. You'll hear songs from ABBA. You'll hear songs from Cher. There's just a little bit of everything for everybody to relate to. So definitely get your tickets on gmcsf.org.
Well, you guys seem very busy, Edward. It's amazing. And get your tickets. Let's welcome Corey Billions. I hope he has the billions tonight. Corey is a proud LGBTQ plus community member from West Palm Beach. He has served as a pharmacy technician for 10 years and currently works as a peer coordinator at Community Care Resource. Welcome, Corey.
Hello. I'm here today having a great time. I hope you guys are having just as good of a time.
Well, welcome, Corey, especially from the West Palm Beach area. So what's it like up there? How's it going?
sunshine and blue skies and a little bit of old money.
Have you participated in Clematis Street has a Pride? Have you participated in that Pride up there?
I have.
Okay.
It's very, very, very fun. You know, it's a little smaller than the Fort Lauderdale and Miami Pride, but it's still just as festive.
Great.
You got your drags, you got your kids enjoying themselves, not shooting up the bars and the clubs. They're reading books, they're having fun, they're enjoying themselves, as they should.
Well, that's great. We look forward to Pride on the Block, I believe it's called, on Clematis Street in West Palm Beach. Next, let's welcome Gregg Shapiro, an inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. Gregg is the author of 2 short story collections and 7 books on poetry. He's an entertainment journalist whose celebrity interviews and reviews run in a variety of print and online publications. Welcome, Gregg. How's it going?
It's going really well. It's my birthday weekend, so I'm trying
Happy birthday.
to... thank you.
You're a Gemini.
I am indeed. This is my last public appearance, and I go into hiding starting.
So when's your birthday, Gregg?
It's Sunday.
Sunday, so June 2nd.
Yeah, I'll be in hiding all weekend.
So are you
No texts, no call.
are you the traditional Gemini?
Oh, I certainly am.
Oh
No, I'm
God.
not. No, I'm not.
2 heads, right.
And let's welcome our lead anchor, Dr. Edward Summers. He is the executive director of Pride Lines, Miami's LGBTQ community center. He served as a primary therapist and program director at Eye Care Treatment Center in West Palm Beach. He was also the founder and CEO of the New York-based nonprofit, The Thinkubator. Well, welcome, Dr. Summers.
Thank you, Gregg. It's good to be here with all of you. It's been a busy year so far for Pride Lines. So we are hot off of an event that we just hosted last night here in Wilton Manors. We hosted our executive circle where Pride Lines, we're a Miami-Dade organization, but we came to Broward. And the reason because a lot of our donors and longtime friends are now up here in Broward, and also a lot of the gay community is here. So we wanted to introduce ourselves to, reintroduce ourselves to our donors and friends, but then introduce ourselves to new members of the community. So we're hot off that event last night, and our famous Faye What hosted it last night. We're so grateful for her. She was amazing. The event was, it was fantastic, and we really got the opportunity to talk about what Pride Lines is doing. So it was great. One other thing I want to plug is that this Sunday, Pride Lines for the 3rd year hosts an event called Halo. The Halo Awards honors individuals who are long-term survivors of HIV. There are people who are living with, and we honor unsung heroes. And so we are looking forward to that event. It's going to be held at our Pride Lines Liberty City Center, 6 to 9 actually. It's going to be a great night of entertainment, great stories to tell, good food, really good food, some drinks, and just good company. So we're looking forward to that event.
Great.
So we are the reporters of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBT community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of the queer news for Thursday, May 30th, 2024. So we have breaking news. We just heard from major news sources that our former president, Donald Trump, has been found guilty of all charges. So I just briefly want to break from our show script to discuss that with the panel. What do we think here?
I can breathe easy. Maybe I won't go into hiding this weekend after all. I'll go celebrate.
I just want to know what that means for the presidential race. Like, is he dropping out? Is he going to still attempt from the jail cell? Who knows?
Well, I'm not surprised, that the guilty, I'm just surprised at 34 counts, if that's the number. I have to look
Big
into
number.
it. But I'll tell you something. I almost want to, do a cartwheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what's important is here is to your question, Corey. What does this mean for the presidential race?
Yes.
What's going to be that impact?
Yeah.
Can he still run technically? And I think that's a question that perhaps the Supreme Court will have to answer, and we know what the Supreme Court demographics look like. It will side with him, but. I think a much larger question is how will this impact public opinion, and how will this impact people's voting? Will this impact people's voting? Will people say that, who wants to nominate and elect a person who has been found guilty of all these charges?
Have you seen his followers? That too.
So I think there's a lot of questions, I think, and it's really hot off the press. I'd say that maybe justice have been served. I don't know, perhaps. And these juries are impartial, right? Like they're 12 members who, theoretically listened to the case, listened to the testimony, evaluated the evidence, and based their decisions based on that, based on what was presented. I will say, having listened to some of the trial, the defense presented a short and weak defense. I'm not a lawyer. I was a paralegal at one point, but I seemed like the defense was pretty weak, actually. They really didn't do much in defending them, and they didn't really call that many witnesses, quite frankly. So
I don't know if it's surprising that it took this long, but it's just he's been in the presidency, out of the presidency, causing chaos, causing commotion, and we get all the way down the road to a possible potential another presidential seat, and it's like, why now? Why not 6 months ago, a year ago?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, what's take a long time.
What's our country going to look like if we elect a convicted criminal now at this point? What is that saying for us?
Well, criminal, sexual, sex offender.
I mean,
we're already the laughing stock of the world. To be honest with you. People look at our politics and say, "My God, it's a shame." In terms of how we're looked at internationally and globally. What's going to be interesting is that to see his sentencing hearing, right? So like the next step in the process is now he has to be sentenced, right? Will he be sentenced? And it's up to the judge, right?
It's that judge that he's been making him miserable.
My God. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Should be interesting.
It should be interesting.
Wow.
Well, thank you for commenting on this breaking news. Stay tuned. I'm sure Queer News Tonight will continue to cover this as we learn more. So let's begin our show with Let's Queer Up Gay Culture. This weekend, the Master Chorale presents Considering Matthew Shepard at Sunshine Cathedral. This weekend, join the Master Chorale of South Florida as they launch Pride Month with Craig Hella Johnson's Considering Matthew Shepard, an evocative and compassionate musical response to the infamous anti-gay hate crime that claimed the life of Matthew Shepard 25 years ago. The event will be held May 31st and Saturday, June 1st at the Sunshine Cathedral Center for the Performing Arts. It is sponsored in part by Our Fund Foundation and is this season's Concert with a Cause, featuring a portion of the all proceeds will be shared with SunServe. Wow, I'm excited that this has come here to Sunshine Cathedral in the Center for Performing Arts. Matthew Shepard, 25 years ago, was such a devastating and tragic, malicious, terrible beating that happened 25 years ago that impacted all of America, quite frankly, and brought rise to issues impacting the gay community and in particular brutality and harm. And so I'm glad that this performance is coming here. And I love the fact that also that it's a performance that's going towards a cause and that it's benefiting a great organization like SunServe. I love SunServe. Tony Lima and his team is amazing. They're amazing partners to me at Pride Lines. Literally today, right before this show, I was working with my team on referring a young person from Miami to SunServe, their Pride House. And so literally I was like scrambling to do that right before the show. But we have a meaningful partnership with SunServe and they're doing great work for our community. So I love the fact that Matthew Shepard, that story is being told here and needs to continue to be told, quite frankly. And the fact that, the proceeds are going towards, partially towards SunServe. Great organization.
We're so honored that the Gay Men's Chorus artistic director, Gabe Salazar, is going to be a featured soloist in that as well.
Wow.
So we'll actually get to hear him sing for the, since instead of conducting a chorus. So definitely come and see it. But, I remember when Matthew Shepard was murdered, I was newly out myself. I was probably, maybe a couple of years out. And that had a profound effect on me. I was very fragile when I came out. I come from a predominantly Republican family. And so when I was coming out, it was very fearful for me and my safety. So, when I hear stories like Matthew Shepard, it always resonates with me. But to see this piece of work actually be brought to South Florida is really speaks well of Master Chorale, and I have my ticket, so I can't wait to go and see it.
Well, Brett Kylan, the artistic director and conductor of Master Chorale of South Florida, was on the show, and the chorale is described as the voice of South Florida. So it's kind of a big title to carry.
Yes.
And His description of the concert, as well as the Master Chorale itself, made this sound like the musical event, well, other than the chorus, of course, of the Pride
Forget
season.
them.
No, it's good because we have two different organizations that
Right.
have different point of views, and it's really great that Master Chorale will take on an LGBTQ plus, story, so, and bring it onto life. So, and have us be a part of that. So, and it's all about community, and we like to participate that way, and also, give into SunServe and stuff.
Thank God for SunServe. Mental health is needed nowadays, especially in the youth and the younger community. There's so much with social media and the anxieties of the world that I couldn't deal with nowadays. So the fact that there's an outlet that can reach you from Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm, it's one of the major organizations in the world with LGBTQ plus mental health. So I love them.
No, it's a great organization, and get your tickets. It's tomorrow and Saturday, so it's here. Corey?
55 years of celebrating our LGBTQ plus history, from the 1969 Stonewall riots to the 2024 Stonewall parade. These are the stories of Stonewall Pride. Stonewall Pride Women's Weekend is press play with stage, VIP lounge, and parties. Stonewall Pride isn't just a one-day affair. It's a weekend celebration of diversity and inclusion. This year, one of the standout features is the Women's Press Play Weekend, offering a range of events to commemorate LGBTQ plus pride. It is part of the Stories of Stonewall Pride that celebrates lesbian and queer women. Kicking off on Friday, June 14th, is Les Chic at the Well, setting the tone for the weekend with the fun women's party. June 15th features the Cure Leaf Women's Stage and the Women's Lounge, presented by Lexi Goza State Farm, providing spaces for women to come together and celebrate. On the same day is the Pandora Women's Dance Party. The festivities continue into Sunday, June 16th, with the Pandora events, Women's Brunch Party. Tickets and further information about events are available at stonewallpride.lgbt. Press Play is Hotspots Magazine's Happening Out television network's growing commitment to telling the stories of the women in our LGBTQ plus community. We invite you to visit the special website for news, events, and the many stories told about our sisters in our community. These are the stories of Stonewall Pride coming to Wilton Manor on June 15th. Shout out to my lesbians. We love you. It's not all about the guys. I think sometimes the women fall short. There's such a focus on the male homo instead of the female homo. But I love these type of events because, boobs. Thank God for them.
Well, sisterhood is powerful.
That too.
We must support our sisters who've always been there for us. I'm sure you don't need to be reminded about what was going on during the early years of the AIDS crisis and how they were there for us. So, and now, especially during Pride season, when we're all celebrating together, let's celebrate with our sisters.
Yes.
I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I think for a long time, they have been the missing part of our parades that we've been celebrating. It's all been men, and I love men, of course. I'm gay as hell, but but they've been the missing part, and it's great to celebrate them and to stand with them and to rejoice with them. I'm looking forward to this, and we have a lesbian sister here who we love.
Yes.
It was Faye Watt, and she's always like, "Where's my lesbian sisters at?" Right? She's always the only one, and so this is a great opportunity to see them all out, and to celebrate them because they're a big part of our community.
They certainly are. I'm thrilled that we have nonprofits that are emerging that celebrate lesbian, the lesbian thespians come to mind where, it's like they just kind of, sprouted up, and I'm like, wow, I'm here for it, and that's so great because there's just room for everybody.
Absolutely.
And it just makes it so great. Yeah. Well, let's now queer up the USA View. After Backlash, National Park Service members allowed to walk Celebrate Pride again. Queer News Tonight reported earlier this week on a directive from the National Park Service stating that requests from employees asking to participate in uniform in a variety of events and activities, including events not organized by the NPS, breached official policy. following significant backlash from LGBTQ plus groups, including environmentalist drag queen Patty Gonya. Secretary of the Interior Deb Haaland issued an email to NPS employees reversing the decision. After the reversal, Patty Gonya issued a statement reading, "Thank you to every single person, news publication, and especially LGBTQ plus park employee who fought so hard to win. When we fight, we win." We certainly do.
Right.
You know, I mean, I'll say this, you know, the LGBTQ plus community is so organized, and we do get stuff done, you know, and it's so great that, you know, it all starts with, it takes a drag queen, I think, sometimes to stir up trouble. And
They're
then,
always at the
people
forefront.
really take a look at it. So, you know, and what is this, 55 years we've had this. So, you know, my hat's off to Patty Gonya. I hope I'm saying that right.
It's nice to hear about a positive decision reversal for a change. And it's good to know that someone came to their senses and fixed this issue. And as Patty said, when we fight, we win.
No, I love it. My only thing about this story is that I was thrown off by this story because we have a Democratic president who, you know, theoretically the administration is all kind of left-leaning and into equality. And the fact that one of his administrative bureaus decided to enforce this rule that they couldn't march. And so I'm glad that the secretary actually stood in, who was an appointee by Biden, who then, you know, reversed the decision. But it was pretty shocking that under a Democratic leader that we would have such a rule that came out. And again, it reminds us of American democracy and the fact that we do have bureaucrats that may not be of the same political party as our leader because they probably was appointed or given a job during another administration. So
or
it's very
properly educated.
Or properly educated.
Because I don't think they don't have staff members there that are obviously keeping them up to date with things. So maybe the LGBTQ plus component was not part of the package that she saw at first. I'm not condoning or anything like that, but you know, I just don't know like what it is.
Right.
I wonder how large a percentage there is of LGBTQ people working for the parks.
So Parks Department, right? Yeah. Because this decision was almost like the police not marching.
Yeah.
You know, and that's huge, right? In gay parades. So
next, let's queer up religion. Pope apologizes for using gay slur. Pope Francis was recently quoted using a vulgar term for gay men when discussing the church's decision to reaffirm the ban on gay priests. The phrase was allegedly used in a closed-door meeting with Italian bishops on May 20th. Vatican spokesman Matteo Bruni issued a statement about the reported use of the word, saying, quote, "The Pope never intended to offend or express himself in homophobic terms, and he extends his apologies to those who were offended by the use of a term that was reported by others," end quote. Pope Francis has long promoted the idea that there is room for everyone in the Catholic Church. Natalia Imperatori Lee, chair of the Religious Studies Department at Manhattan College, said, quote, "More than the offensive slur uttered by the Pope, what is damaging is the institutional church's insistence on banning gay men from the priesthood, as if we all do not know and minister alongside many gifted celibate gay priests," end quote. Well, I think it's going to take me a while to wrap my gay atheist head around the concept of many gifted gay celibate priests. In the meantime, why is a man in an evening gown, pumps, and a matching hat using gay slurs? Are there no full-length mirrors at the Vatican?
Yeah, Greg, I love it. You know, I mean, His Holiness, right? The fact that he's using terminology like that, shame on him. How holy are you? You know, how loyal to God are you by, using derogatory terms towards a population? You're supposed to love all humankind. Shame on him. I think the bigger thing is that this inconsistency, this back and forth, we get that the Catholic Church is, it's so old and it's such an institution and it's hard to change. But like, I think he just needs to come out one way or another. Stop the muddling. Stop the 1 minute, I condone people who love same-sex people who love each other, but not marriage, but they're open and the church is open. Stop this crap already. Enough is enough. We deserve equality. We deserve full recognition.
It's pandering.
Just cut it out. And Edward, let's get to you, but like I want to say one thing about people in cloth, right? Like the fact that there's so many that we have known over the years. and we don't need to talk about all the scandals that the Catholic Church has been involved with, but let's talk about the fact that the bigger problem that they're faced with is nobody want to go into the clergy anymore. No one wants to be a part of the Catholic Church anymore, and they have declined in numbers. Yeah. So if they don't catch up with times, they'll be They'll be left behind and they'll be done.
Edward? It's just, what I wanted to mention is that the Buffalo Gay Men's Chorus was just recently ousted from their place that they were going to perform in a Catholic church just recently. So, when I hear stories about the Pope like this and going back and forth, this is the effect that this is happening in today's world, where it's stopping performances for LGBTQ plus community, and just, because that they can't stand behind it, I think is more or less what the statement was. So, we have a lot of work to do, and in terms of religion and how people practice it and how people interpret it as well. So, I just wanted to bring that up as well.
I think it comes to the knowledge that these priests have prior to getting in the cloth. If you're ignorant before, 9 times out of 10, you might be ignorant after. Let's be okay, be educated. Sit at the drag show, see them do backflips, and see they're not a bad thing. Let's just go to a gay bar. Yeah, they might be half naked, sweaty, but they're not shooting up the club. They're not, unaliving every other person around them. They're just having fun.
So I want to take it a step further, actually. I don't think it's necessarily the ignorance. I think a lot of time, oftentimes, especially because of all the stories that we hear, is that they're hiding from themselves.
True.
And they don't want to face who they really are.
True.
And whether it's because of culturally how they were raised, or in their communities or in their families, because of their mom and dad was such a religious, very religious folks. But oftentimes we find that they're hiding, right? And that because we hear these stories of I hate to bring it up, but of priests, sexually assaulting young men and molesting. Like we've heard so many of these stories, right? The church has covered up so many of these stories. But I think really it's about these psychological and mental challenges that one has with oneself. Right, and therefore they don't want to deal with themselves, so they think they can deal with others, right? Because priests are often the people that you go to for advice and guidance, right? So no attention on them, but attention on you, right? Exactly. And so I think that it's really about them dealing with, themselves and looking at themselves in the mirror and being okay with themselves.
Being okay with themselves, yes.
So next, let's queer up gaming. Game Geeks rejoice as the 2024 Gayming Awards announced for June 25th. The Gayming Awards 2024 will be taking place on June 25th, celebrating Pride Month with the best of LGBTQ plus gaming. Jeremy Crawford, best known for his work on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, will be awarded the Gayming Icon 2024 award. Notable games up for awards for the LGBTQ plus content include Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Sims 4, Spider-Man 2, and The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. 5 well-known LGBTQ streamers will also be inducted into the LGBTQ Streamer Rising Star class. The awards are sponsored by TikTok, Devolver Digital, and Logitech. A full list of nominees can be found at GayMingAwards.com. This is a great story. I love it. I love the fact that Pride Month has gotten so diverse in terms of representation and where we're at. This is another sector, another industry that we're, breaking barriers and that we're included in and that we're being recognized. And so I think it's pretty amazing that this is happening, and that I didn't realize the the gay influence on so many, games that exist. And these are some popular games that I know my son plays. I have, I shouldn't call her a niece, but I have a relative who's non-binary who is very much into the gaming industry. And so it's just amazing to see that these games have such a great influence from our community.
Does anyone else think that Ms. Pac-Man might have been a lipstick lesbian? I mean, I was just thinking. And also, I'm wondering, does Wordle count as gaming? Because I play every morning at 9.
You're showing your age.
You're talking my era, because I remember, the arcade games growing up on the shore of New Jersey, going to the that was my extent, and I think Atari is where I stopped. But but I do remember that the escapeness of it, and I do remember that it was kind of part of the whole fantasy. So I'm so glad that there's a good positive connection around gaming for those LGBTQ plus people that that need that, and that I'm thrilled.
I think Sims 2 is the game that you build cities, I believe.
Yeah, Sims.
So I think that not only is it an escape from the real world, but this is an opportunity to express your creativeness, your innovation, like in a game like Sims, where you can build cities, right? And you can actually learn negotiating
build
skills.
the perfect woman.
Or build, right. But so there are some skills that are also
about
developed.
Transitioning, you can have this avatar, and this is me, this is what I'm going to look like, and it's a great escape.
This is so great, because then it trickles down to who's creating these games, and then you have maybe there's LGBTQ plus people that are behind there, doing the graphics and the storylines and stuff. So hey, you know what? That's one I'm all for that.
And who doesn't love playing with a joystick?
Love it. But but I think that this is a way to also foster greater understanding and acceptance among younger people, right? That are coming of age. And I do notice that this, and I used to be a professor, I do notice that this next generation is very different. They're more open. They're less committal about their sexual orientation, their or their gender. They're open, and they may be in love with a man one day and a woman the next day, or a trans person.
Okay.
So it's okay. And they're open about it. I have a bunch of nieces and nephews. I'm one of 12, and so I have 46 nieces and nephews. But they often, talk about their friends like so casually, and I'm just like, oh God, like
no big deal.
No big deal. Yeah. But when I was in high school, I was in the closet.
I was a whisper.
Listen, I was in the closet. I was hiding, go to West Village in New York, driving my car around looking to pick somebody up. I mean, like that was the environment back then, but it's so different. But I think that this helps to even foster even greater acceptance among young people, particularly those households that are raised by religious parents or conservative parents who may not be that accepting. This is a platform and a way in which
it's a community.
A community can be built, but greater understanding and awareness can happen.
Yeah. Well, tonight's broadcast is presented by viewers like you and the generous support by Visit Lauderdale, everywhere under the sun.
Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at Happening Out Television Studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m.
That is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share the news with your friends and family. Are you, like most of America, part of our very large television audience watching this live LGBTQ plus news broadcast right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV?
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I am your anchor, Dr. Edward Summers. On behalf of these LGBTQ reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Edward, Otto Zielke, Corey Billions, and Gregg Shapiro, we will see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you good night.
Good night.